interesting on the back if this all plays out like I'm hoping, in that, you know, every bull run has a hero, and Saylor was the last one, and this one might be Larry Fink.
God, I hope not. Fuck Larry Fink.
Harry made a really good point the other night. He said, when Odell was up there saying, look, fuck BlackRock, you know, buy Bitcoin self-custody, and he's totally 100% right. Harry was like, but look at the signal. That's all we need to care about. Larry Fink, who...
Oh, he's bent the knee.
Yeah, and Larry Fink is telling every asset manager in the world, you can and you should have Bitcoin. Every asset manager in the world. And the narrative shift that you might get with that is that you may now get New York Times writing, Bitcoin is good for the environment. Yeah. You might get that. And once you get that, you've won. Like,
totally. And did you notice that the news changed when BlackRock filed?
It's bullshit.
No, I like that narrative.
Yeah,
we're going to go with it.
But it's bullshit.
It's a useful narrative. Yeah, did you notice it changed, Pete? Now you edit this podcast. Now you say yes.
Nope. It's bullshit. But what was really interesting, Dylan put out Dylan Leclerc put out a great tweet yesterday. He said, bro, they're going to ban Bitcoin. It's like, bro, they can't even ban XRP.
Yeah.
Fucking.
That's one of the beautiful things about the American judiciary. It's like, by the way, it was funny because I think it was Pierre Rochard put out a tweet that was like, if the SEC wins, Bitcoiners will cheer. If the SEC loses, Bitcoiners will cheer. Until you understand this, you won't understand Bitcoiners. It was like something like that.
That's brilliant.
And that's how I feel. I thought it was funny when the SEC lost. I think it's funny if they win. I enjoy the whole thing. You know?
Yeah, but the XRP army have come out in force. I just went to war with them.
Oh my God, they're back. They're back.
Yeah.
ISO 20002, man. Don't you know about it, man?
What is it? $287? What's the B?
It's the standard, man.
XRP the standard. No,
you know what's funny? The XRP guys have basically said to the SEC, "Hey, we like being stupid. Leave us alone." You know, like, and they won.
What happened to the price yesterday?
It went up like 70%.
Yeah, it was up like 75.
But the hilarious thing was Corey put out the zoomed out chart.
Oh, it's still getting demolished.
Yeah, it's like...
Well, that's the other thing too. It's like, as a Bitcoiner, I do think it's... I saw some Bitcoiners who were like, you know, very shell-shocked that the SEC had like lost in court or whatever. Or, you know, it was a split decision, but like they kind of lost a little bit. It's a bad decision, by the way, though. I was talking to some lawyer friends and they think it'll be overturned in like a year or so. So like it has faulty reasoning within the document. And so it's likely to be overturned. So you basically have this like 1 or like year and a half like time period where there's going to be... So unfortunately, we're stuck with another fucking alt season because of course we are, right? But anyway, it's neither here nor there. The point is that I saw Bitcoiners complaining about it, and it's like, listen, man, I've been duking it out with fucking Ripple guys in the free market for 7, 8 years. Like, I'm happy to continue duking it out with them. You know,
I mean, put my tweet up. See what you think of this, because I think I crystallized hopefully what a lot of Bitcoiners are thinking with regards to this, and I kind of half plagiarized of somebody else. So I said so much shit on. But then some guy had to go at me. I was expecting Peter McCormack to be a man. Just say congrats. It's basically
your small walnut brain cannot comprehend this victory.
And so I said, look, I'm glad Ripple beat the SEC because fuck the SEC. But Chris Larson of Ripple funded a 5 million anti-Bitcoin campaign. We are not the same. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's it. Go fuck yourself. I am pro the SEC losing. Brad Garning.
You can be anti-SEC enforcement, and you can be anti-Ripple. You can be both.
It's like quantum shitcoining.
Yeah. Now that said, if the SEC had won, I also would have been like, well, that's what happens. I mean, what do you think was going to happen, right?
Yeah. I want the SEC to keep losing.
Yeah.
The SEC losing consistently, and
I don't really, as a Bitcoiner, I don't really give a shit about the SEC. Do you think about it that often? I don't think about it very much. They have no purview over Bitcoin. I mean, the spot ETF, like, but who cares?
I just think it's just everything's good for Bitcoin, right? So if they win and they lose, I just get Harry Sadek in my ear going, everything's good for Bitcoin, and I just think why, and I figure it out, and it always is. Everything's good for Bitcoin. But what I will say is, over certainly the last month, but definitely the last 3 months, I'm feeling the whole narrative changing now.
Oh, like massively.
The anti-Bitcoin arguments are just not flying. People who are coming out with like Ben McKenzie at the moment is getting humiliated.
Ben McKenzie.
Yeah.
Actor.
Yes, I know.
Stop taking that guy seriously.
Well, you know, we're gonna sit down and talk to him soon. But like, what I'm saying is,
an actor.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, anyone who's coming out with any press, like Bitcoin's bad for the environment, you just got a wave of people coming in, showing them charts and saying you just don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And so you've got that. You've got every presidential nominee is pro Bitcoin. Lots of Congress people are turning. Like the wave is changing.
Oh no, 100%. You can feel it. And I think this is something I want to get into too. I think that it's important that we, you know, back to your XPub thing. I think that it's important that we build Bitcoin designs to meet like TradFi where they're at. Because we've had this like incorrect assumption in Bitcoin for a long time that either you're fully cucked and you trust a third party and you have a Bitcoin IOU, or on the other hand, you're fully cypherpunk and you have a sovereign multi-sig that's, you know, DIY that only you control and know the private keys to, right? Or the seed phrase to. I think that there is just a massive gradient in the middle. And basically like the center of that gradient is collaborative custody. And there's all sorts of different variations of, covenants, script, collaborative custody that we can use to create different trust models, brand new trust models. And we don't have to just say, okay, BlackRock, here's all the Bitcoin. We can say, okay, BlackRock, here's how you work in a Bitcoin framework in order to have a collaborative model where you can have all of the regulatory compliance that you want, all of the cryptographic security practices that we want and your customers expect of you. And then there is no, one trusted third party who can abscond with the keys. Now, paper contract and rehypothecation is a different thing, and that's not part of the Bitcoin network. And so that's
a risk.
It's a risk, and it's also something that we can't do much about, other than say have fun staying poor. Because what we've seen is that everybody who does rehypothecate, sorry, BlockFi Zach, you owe me a coin by the way. Everyone who does rehypothecate gets absolutely taken to the woodshed. They just get totally fucking destroyed. And
I think you need to add on to that kind of middle ground. I had a long conversation with Alex Thorns of Galaxy yesterday, and we were talking about how do you scale Bitcoin culture. And the reason this becomes important is that the block size wars, half of the people on the one side of that argument was essentially the business Bitcoin people who said we needed bigger blocks because we're doing business. The New York Agreement. And that was a group of credible, respected people at the time who said, no, Bitcoin needs bigger blocks, and they fought for it. And there was a clear separation between them and the devs, and it got I didn't understand what was going on at the time because I was new, but it was getting dicey. And talking to these people, going back and talking about what happened, it was a scary time for Bitcoiners. You can see a whole new world. What I said to Alex Thorns is if Bitcoin goes to 100, 200, 300K, 400K, and we have this massive global adoption, the Bitcoin influencers, we don't know who they might be. It might be Logan Paul. Yeah. It might be Joe Rogan. It might be somebody we've not heard of. It might be some sports star. It might be a whole wave of people that eliminate the likes of me, Marty, Odell, and they've got the big, powerful voice. If they don't understand the key pillars and principles of decentralization, self-custody, who Adam Back is and why he's so fucking important, they don't understand all this. What are the narratives that get disseminated now? Then if you get an asset, if the next New York Agreement is a bunch of asset managers who think Bitcoin needs to be ESG, how do you fight back against that? And I think I
think the OGs, which you're becoming an OG, I'm becoming an OG. I think we're kind of like the Bene Gesserit from Dune. We show up and we do whisper campaigns places. I got invited to a phone call recently about orange pilling a small Caribbean nation, and I
love it.
Yeah, and I was on the phone call to tell them what strong Bitcoin focused principles look like and how they could adopt a Bitcoin only standard and actually have this work in their country. Why the fuck am I on that phone call? You know what I mean? But Bitcoiners we're everywhere. And so if it is going to be a new class of influencer, like a Logan Paul or something like that, it's important that, they stay on message and they don't say things that are anti-Bitcoin, antithetical to Bitcoin, and ultimately harmful for both them and, the audience that they're talking to. So it's important that, OGs continue to work behind the scenes like we all do anyway, and just talk to people about it and tell them hey man, here's instead of going down that path, I might try this path and this will be more effective for you, right?
But scaling that is how do you scale it? Because I think, again, it goes back to how I talk to people in the UK. I don't think the toxic pleb culture will scale into asset managers. They will need the reform.
They're not going to be toxic.
Yeah, they're going to need almost like the reform hodls. It's you coming from that and being serious hodl, that reformed person who still has a sense of humor and gets did everything he did, but now understands how to communicate that in a way that an asset manager wants to hear, because you're not going to have Blue Banana 64 come in and fucking yell at them because they don't want to hear it. But you might get serious hodl in there who comes in and says, look, these are the core principles. This is why you've invested it for number go up. To maintain number go up, you need to maintain these core principles. And we just got to get that across to people. And
I recently started making startup investments, and the two that I've invested in so far is I invested in Mutiny, which is about as fucking cypherpunk as you can fucking get. And then I invested in Rob Hamilton's company, Anchor Watch, which is a regulated insurance product for, big money, basically. And I believe that both of those products, which are on opposite ends of the gradient, I believe that both of them, pump Bitcoin equally, right? Because you need to be able to do Bitcoin in both ways. Bitcoin needs to,
You seen his t-shirt?
They're those guys are wizards. Mutiny is one of the greatest wallets of all time.
We're getting Tony on Sunday, right?
Yeah. Asked him. Yeah. But going back to the the kind of influencers taking, they're not going to be talking about Bitcoin ever. Who talks about the dollar on a podcast right now?
Oh, but they will.
They're going to concentrate on sport.
But once it hits you, and then you become part of these community organizations that I was talking about, you just can't help but talk about it. It's part of your life.
But then you become a Bitcoiner.
Yeah, you're a Bitcoiner.
But those influencer podcasts are always going to be about sport and music and culture. I don't think they'll become Bitcoin podcasts.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is, you think during how much crypto shit Logan Paul did in the last, he fully embedded himself in crypto culture.
Now, I happen to know that the Pauls are big on Bitcoin. They're also crypto scam guys. That he did that NFT scam or whatever.
Zoo.
But I also know that Marquise Brownlee, big YouTuber, he's big on Bitcoin. Mr. Beast, one of the biggest YouTuber in the world, he's big on Bitcoin. And so it's not a bridge too far for these young guys that came up on YouTube or whatever. They all get it. They all have Bitcoin. I know things behind the scenes. I know they get it, right? So it's just a matter of them coming out and saying it publicly.